Shut up and sit down. And sit down.
All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome inside the 360 Sports Show. We're coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. I am Andrew Pizzelli. He is Christian Lauber, and we'll be getting into all the biggest stories from the past week in sports. You can reach us anytime in the comment section of those live streams. And if you're one of our podcast listeners, you can shoot us an email, the360sportshow at gmail.com, and we will check those out in the mailbag. So, Christian, I think we have been leaving the Boston Celtics. In NBA-type news, we push it to the back because we say, we know this is the rabbit hole. Let's get through the other stuff. But I think in lieu of Jason Tatum dropping a big old 54 points yesterday, I think we have to lead with the Celtics here.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the lead story here, to be honest with you. So, I mean, and it's not just the other day because he dropped 54. It's the last, better part of 2022, really.
What do you think about that? I mean, last night, what impressed you the most? Is it the 54? Is it how he got the 54? What's the most impressive thing about Tatum in that game and then maybe in this little streak here recently?
Well, I just think, the guy is if he continues this run, I feel like he should get an MVP vote because he's kind of in that conversation right now with he is that guy. He is obviously we all know what his ceiling is, right? We've seen it in flashes, but he's been consistently doing it now for, like I just said, since the beginning of this year, right? This calendar year. So, since January 1, really the whole team has shifted, and even maybe a little bit prior to that, but Tatum will take this team as far as they can go. I truly believe that if he's going, you're in good shape. And it's not really about the number. 54 points, 5 assists, I think it was. That doesn't seem all that oh wow, he's hogging the ball. But it's the way he's playing. So he's not just hucking up threes time after time. He's not doing his step back constantly in ISO ball. No, he's taking the ball. He's putting the ball on the floor, number one. That's the one thing I've asked for the last 2 years here is go to the basket. You're bigger than everybody. You can be stronger than everybody if you take the contact. And he's clearly doing that. But he's also, if he's getting into trouble and trouble, by trouble, I mean two guys come, they flash a double team at him. He's getting rid of it. And the ball is moving. So if you want to tell me he has 5 assists, great. Doesn't look all that good on a stat sheet. But if they counted like a hockey assist in basketball, he's got a number of those, and the ball is swinging, from one side of the floor to the other, and he's the lead part of that. So the 54 is obviously impressive. He's like up there with Larry Bird now in Celtics history. So that tells you something. But for me, the points is not, that's not the top of my list. It's just the way he's doing it.
Yeah, I think one of the bigger plays down the stretch in that game was what you're talking about. The Nets come to really double him. And it was quick recognition. He kicked it to Smart, who then quickly moved it to Jalen, who kind of shoulder fakes a guy out of the way and buries a three, which kind of put the game away for the most part at the end. And so Tatum gets nothing out of that. There's no true box score stat for that. But that sort of recognition has been there. I kind of throughout this year, his passing and his vision has drastically improved. There's times in some games this year where both him and Jalen have both gotten into a little bit of ISO ball mentality. But I feel like he's using the full arsenal of things that are in his like utility belt, right? When the moment calls for it, he's going to the rim. If he's got the mismatch he wants, he posts the guy up. He uses his height or his speed on that person. When he's got somebody bigger, he's got the handles to get away from them or get back from them and get a shot off. You're seeing every piece of the repertoire. On top of that, what I thought, he's doing it at one end, and then in crunch time, he's picking up Durant. Now, Durant obviously could still get his, but you could see the intensity and the energy there, and that's what we've been craving. And that's what I feel like has been that missing little component. What can take Jason Tatum from star, all-star, to superstar status? That. Just being a man, every single possession down on offense, and then be willing to pick up the best guy on defense. Because he has that ability. He is more than capable of being as good a two-way player as Jaylen Brown is. I think his offensive upside is greater than Jaylen's. So if he's going to bring that edge and that intensity, and you saw it, I mean, there were some grown man moves in the second half of that game. There was also an absolutely, it doesn't count, don't go nowhere, an absolutely ludicrous windmill dunk.
Yeah.
That did not count. It was after a whistle.
Did anybody hear that whistle, though?
The place was so loud. But, like, that kind of, there's just an edge there that I think we've been wanting to see more of. And now he's not a Kevin Garnett thumping his chest and firing up the crowd like that.
No, but he's showing more emotion these days.
We saw more and more emotion yesterday. And, like, I think they even said it on the broadcast, like, playing with his food. He got Kyrie a couple of times and was like, good. And didn't settle for some like really fancy. He like roasted him, went to the rim, and just threw up like a floater and got it.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, the last two games he's
taking on the challenge, right?
Yeah, and and also Coach Udoka in the post game said something that's the whole key to it is he's playing as an alpha instead of like respecting guys way too much, backing off. No, he just said it straight up in his press conference. He's taking over. He is the alpha in the game, during the game. Not just giving so much respect to guys that he's backing off. But the last two games, he stared down Ja Morant, and get guy that's getting MVP consideration more so than maybe even Embiid right now. I mean, those are the 1 and 2, right? And then Kevin Durant, he went for 37 and 54. So there, and honestly, it's not even just him. The whole team is just playing better, and Derek White has just kind of come in and fit seamlessly. So they've added a little bit more depth. That move doesn't look like. Look, it's not going to get you to a championship or anything with Derek White, but he has the effort. He tries almost every night, and he gives you something off the bench, and that shorter rotation is just much more succinct.
Something we talked about the it thing. Something just feels right about this team. Like, it feels better as compared to, like, a month ago when it was Schroeder running around out there and all these other guys. And it's like, it just didn't feel, something wasn't right. Something wasn't right with what was on the floor. It didn't feel right off the floor. Everything is clicking for them right now, except for the only thing I'll say is that during this stretch, a guy that's going to lose out big time an opportunity is Aaron Nesmith, right? A guy that, like, talk about plays with the effort and the hustle, and he rolls his ankle big time. And so, obviously now, no chance for him to contribute.
I don't know how much he would contribute anyway.
But I think in terms of, those guys that have been putting in work and having just another guy to come in and be an energy guy.
I just thought he was supposed to shoot threes, and every time I see him shoot a three, he shoots it into the third row. So I love the effort and intensity from him whenever he gets in the game. Now, obviously, he hasn't been able to because of that injury. But, prior to the injury, the effort and the hustle is always there. He's always running back on defense, and he's making an extra pass on offense. And he's always in the mix, whether it's on the defensive or offensive side, rebounding. He's always in the mix. He's always scrapping. But then he pops out to shoot a three, which is like, oh, he's the best shooter of this draft. Well, he didn't tell me everybody on the draft sucked.
Yeah. Well, so here's I think we have to readjust a little bit. I'll say this though, he's not on N'Keal Harry level Hashtag
No.
not what we bought. We're not what we were sold.
Oh, he's a guy that can play in the league for sure. I mean, I'm not going that far, but I just think like I expect, that three to go in from time to time, and it's just he can't even hit the net. I mean,
Yeah, no, but there's a chance for some consistency, consistent minutes. Peyton Pritchard has benefited. I mean, like we've kind of said, the addition by subtraction, and give some of these other guys a chance to grow. And Tatum, chief among them, is just taking, as you said, alpha dog, taking his place at the top, not just on this team, but in the league, feeling like he has his place. Another guy who has long since been top dog, also had a 50-point game this week, which got a lot of attention. That would be LeBron James out in L.A. That's what it takes for the Lakers to win games now, is for him to have to drop 56 points to overcome a 14-point deficit to the Warriors, no less, who they have not been playing. They have not been themselves lately. But your thoughts on... We'll touch first on LeBron's game. He had some comments the last few days about his legacy type things we can get into. But on him dropping 56, I mean, just crazy at 37 that he's still doing that. The guy is... We know he's not a robot because he does get hurt from time to time, but still ridiculous. And I think could position himself, depending upon how long he wants to play, he does take care of himself, and he could have a Tom Brady-like longevity, I think, in a sport like basketball.
Yeah, I mean, it's more. I would say it's more possible for sure than whatever you want to say. I guess quarterback is different, but any other sport, baseball is one. Hockey, obviously, Chara is doing it now, but there's those really select few of guys that, number one, want to play that long, and number two, take care of themselves to play that long, and he's one of those guys. In terms of the 56, yeah, I mean, it's great for him. The Lakers still suck. I mean, it's just one game, but it's unfortunate that he still has to carry this massive load on his shoulders with that team because they brought in all these guys. That's my takeaway is like, why is LeBron having to score 56 for you to win a game?
Yeah.
With Anthony Davis, I mean, Carmelo's kind of, at the tail end of his career, but still, like, he's another guy. You have guys out there like Malik Monk that should be able to knock down shots. And Russell Westbrook, we thought maybe wouldn't work on this team, but he would at least do something. I mean, he's just been a shell of himself as well. So I feel like it shouldn't take that. You're not winning a 7-game series if you're relying on one guy to score 50 points. It's just
a 37-year-old to score 50 points.
Yeah. Forget about it. So, I mean, that's my main takeaway. I mean, LeBron, it doesn't surprise me. And then, number two is like, what are the Lakers doing? I don't know what they do.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of smoke out in La La Land about how long Vogel is going to be there. That Westbrook wants out. There's talk about just sitting him now. Like, yikes, that's going to be ugly. And obviously the whole thing hanging over is like, would LeBron do an un-LeBron thing, which is to like not play out a contract and just say, yeah, I'm out. And find a way to leave in the offseason. One of the things that got discussed because LeBron himself brought it up is how he's not viewed as a scorer. He knows. I mean, he's gonna, before this season's over, he'll be number 2 all time in scoring for the league. And before his career's done, he will have the record for most points scored by an NBA player. But that he's not viewed as a scorer. Now he says he's never viewed himself as a scorer. He wants to get others involved, and he takes pride in that. But he feels slighted. He takes offense that people don't credit his scoring ability. To which I say, which do you want? Because like 4 or 5 years ago, it was the other way around. He was chasing, a scoring title. And people were talking about it, and he was like, well, I'm more than a scorer. I get people involved. I play defense, but it's like, I feel like LeBron just always wants to keep changing the narrative.
Well, how about who the hell cares?
And it's annoying. It's like, dude, yeah. Also, like, nobody says you're not a scorer. They just don't say like I don't think of him as like some pure scorer. Like Kevin Durant is just a pure scorer, right? Obviously not the same level. Jamal Crawford, a pure type scorer. Paul Pierce, only like later in his career, developed like a defensive kind of a grinding attitude under Doc Rivers. Before that, pure scorer, right?
Yeah.
There's these play Carmelo Anthony, guy on your team, pure scorer. LeBron is not that. I mean, he doesn't have this like silky stroke. He doesn't have like the greatest handle, but he's, for his size and strength, he's faster than anybody who should have that size and strength and ability. And so he's been like just an absolute freak on the court. Later in his career, he's developed some of the craft of his game, but he's still just an unbelievable athlete. And yeah, he does all the other things. He's more Magic Johnson than Michael Jordan. And I feel like that's what he wanted. Like he wanted people to acknowledge that side of it, and now he's mad that they're not acknowledging that he's like some great scorer.
How about go play? You're still in the league. Why do you care about this stuff? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, well, I mean, that league, they all care about perception.
Yeah, nowadays, I guess you do. I mean, back then, it's like, okay, Michael Jordan, you're not a pure scorer. You're not this, you're not that. Okay, I have 6 championships, so I don't really care.
Yeah, he's going to have the record.
I want an MVP. I want a scoring title. I want this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah. So it just, if there hadn't been this whole push, the LeBron can't push to be like, go look at the assists, that was a whole big thing a few years ago. He wanted to have the most assists in the season, right? Like that was a thing. And now it's going to be that, I'm not viewed as a pure scorer. Yeah, I take offense to that. You take offense? Because anybody says really... Now, listen. People can get on LeBron about stuff. Nobody truly has an actual bad word to say about LeBron. They don't. The guy is, a model for, what you want your star athletes to be. But...
Minus a couple titles, but yeah.
Well, I mean, in terms of the way he conducts himself.
I know, just being a dick,
Yeah. Unlike some people, he's a model. Colin in the comment section says, I'm currently still at work. Sad. So I can't listen yet. Even sadder. But just want to say the Celtics look for Reap. Tatum look for real, I'm going to assume. Tatum looks like a man on a mission, and something really clicked with this team before the trade deadline. Maybe it was the fact that, like we said, some guys knew, hey, these guys are going to be gone. Few less chefs in the kitchen helps the meal get made better. That's
also just I mean, something clicked with the team. Yeah, absolutely. And I think Marcus Smart is a big part of that. Like I had a lot to say about Marcus Smart in terms of he's not playing like Marcus Smart. He wants to shoot the ball. He wants the ball. He said himself, I'm just standing in the corner. I want to play basketball too, right? Something clicked with him too. I don't know if it's coach, if it's the whole group, they all got together, whatever it was. He's playing some of the best basketball of his career. And I think it's on both ends. I mean, his defense has picked up since this whole turn of the team. His defense, his effort is back to the Marcus Smart of old. And then he's shooting a little bit better than he was earlier in his career. So I really think he's a big part of it, and that's on both ends because I think he helps on the defensive end, especially when he's at the one. I mean, it's just ridiculous how big the Celtics are when he's at the one because you got him and Jalen. That's a big backcourt as it is. That's like he's got to be 6'3", Jalen's 6'4", 6'5", and then Tatum 6'9" at the 3. So it's just – and you got Horford and Rob Williams. So they've gained a lot of size. Smart is doing more than just – kind of chucking it up there. He's passing way better. He's playing defense, and
he's fulfilling the prophecy of being the point guard he was drafted to be. Basically,
yes. Some call it a prophecy. Yes, I would agree.
Man. So those are kind of some of the big NBA headlines. You got a guy who's people would say the future of the league, player like Tatum. Dropping 54, and then LeBron, who people probably are, it's going to probably start getting close. If it isn't there already, there's going to be the people who are going to be trying to bury him, right? Like, God, when are we going to get rid of this guy? And I think that's just going to keep fueling him. At least till Bronny Jr. comes, and we'll see how long he wants to play once that is done. So if you have any other NBA questions for us, you can drop those in the comment section at any time. We are more than happy to circle back to any of our topics. And if you're one of our podcast listeners, thank you for finding us. You can always email the show, the360sportshow@gmail.com. Email us throughout the week, and we'll get to your questions on the next episode. So, moving along to something that will probably be pretty brief. We talked a lot about Major League Baseball last week and their 5 p.m. deadline and blah, 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 blah. And, hey, we'll see what happens. Weren't feeling particularly positive. Did not have a rosy outlook. And lo and behold, the two sides could not reach an agreement in Florida last week. They leave. Negotiations are over. The season delayed for real. We're going to miss at least the first 2-3 series. And then you get Rob Manfred coming up to do a press conference and be like, we had a great deal. We had a great deal. It was great for the fans. It was going to be great for the players, but they didn't want it. The players are robbing you of this. Tell us what it was then.
Yeah.
We had this great deal. It's going to be great for the fans. What was? Don't just say that. Tell us what it was. And then he's like up there laughing and chuckling along. It's like, dude, do you realize that your sport is going to die?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the real question is how much is it going to die? Like, viewership is down, but that guy's raking in a ton of money for the owner. So, like, does he
guess.
Care? I mean, it's true. Baseball is still the number 2 sport in terms of money behind the NFL. So does he care?
This sort of
Obviously
stuff,
not.
This sort of stuff, this work stoppage stuff. I mean, I know people who, after 94, it took them like a long time to want to even come back to watch the sport. That rubbed people the wrong way. Like, you're missing You're missing a few weeks here. Maybe in April, maybe people won't even notice. People who aren't just like clued in every day, like, oh, there's a lockout, and here's the things that are going on, and blah blah blah. They're just gonna be like, oh, they're striking. Okay, if it really drags on, and I think the players are gonna dig in. I mean, I think this could get drawn out. I'm going to be fascinated to see what it looks like on the other side.
He'll get something done for probably May, but at that point, I don't know. But here's the thing that they're working on is the rule changes, which I am in favor of. I've been in favor of that since day one. So if they're going to institute a pitch clock, ban the shift, and make changes like that, I'm coming back. But that's not till 2023. So they still have a season to play here, and they have to get through it, and they'll find some way to do something. My thoughts are just that this is just expected. I expected this from they sat down for 2 weeks and they didn't go anywhere over those 2 weeks. So obviously they were going to miss games, and it's just like until they change the rules and fix the game on the field. For me personally, look, they're going to still rake in money. They clearly are. I mean, the numbers are still so high in that realm in terms of they're right behind the NFL. They make billions of dollars. So ultimately, that's why Manfred's probably laughing. He's like, whatever. I mean, I'm still making my money, and we make more money in the summer anyway. So it is what it is. They're going to miss part of April, maybe more, and then they'll get something done, but it's going to come with some rule changes in 2023. I don't know why they can't implement them now, but 2023, 2024, it looks brighter than it has, I guess. We'll see what actually comes of it.
Yeah. I'll just be stunned if we actually get substantive changes like the pitch clock and all these other things, because
that's the bargaining chip for the MLB or for the MLB owner side. So
yeah, it's just
the players are going to have to budge on that.
It's just never been the MO to make the big changes like drastically. That's why they have to give them a year or two in advance. It's like ridiculous. But at the end of the day, if they get them done and the players get money out of it or whatever the hell they want on their side, and they're willing to give something back in terms of the pitch clock and everything, perfect. That's exactly what this is meant for, this bargaining. And now it would be a lot easier if it was a different league, because both these sides just suck at this. I don't know what it is, but here we are once again. So they're going to miss some time this year. But I want to see the final result, because they'll get something done. I know that. It's just a matter of when and what is actually in that agreement, because I want to see what changes are being made and how soon they're being made. Unless we get some sort of big news on this topic, I think it's something we can shelve for a while until we get some movement.
Yeah.
So with that being said, for now, when do you think opening day is? When do we get the first baseball games of 2022?
God, I think you're looking at like by the time you do like I don't know if would they do a mini spring training, whatever. I'm gonna
Oh,
say
you think those guys aren't gonna want spring training? There you are.
I'm gonna
They're
say
want it.
May 8th is opening day. That's what I'm going with.
I'm gonna go May 22nd. Late May. Late May.
They're not gonna have time for a full spring,
how about
so-
this? How about this? The fix is in. They wait until sometime in beginning of June because ESPN's like, oh, we're getting good ratings on college baseball, and they want to like just get through the college baseball World Series.
That would never happen. It would be funny, and I think some people would rather watch college baseball, but
I would absolutely.
it would never happen. But it would be quite MLB for that to happen, to be honest. So
Yeah.
I'm not rooting against it.
So basically, sometime in May. So if you're a baseball person out there, hang tight. We have tons of little news and notes things. Nothing that really like we're gonna like spend hours on, but tons of little things, some good, some bad. And so I think now we'll have to like pick our top ones here. And we'll be forced to do so with Hot and Not.
It's time for Hot.
Hot.
You want to talk about hot? Please stop doing that.
Doing what?
Continue. Go ahead.
And Not.
God, is he a moron? Oh my God, he doesn't shut up.
It's so stupid.
Stupid decisions.
Dum-dums. The naughtiest knot of the year.
Oof. Suck fest. Suck sauce.
On the 360 Sports Show.
All right, Christian, we have a lot to choose from, I think, this week for the Hot and Not. So whatever we don't pick, we'll have to have a leftovers segment here. The the room temperatures. But for Hot and Not, you lead it away with the hot tier, the goods, the ups.
Yeah, I'm just gonna take the easy way out for the hot, just because I just feel like I haven't done it yet over the past 3 weeks that it's been this way, and he's probably been in the conversation. Is just Tatum. I think last two games I've really seen it with superstar versus superstar, whether it's Morant, even against Embiid and the Sixers, and now Durant. It's just it's over and over again here. There's becoming some consistency, which is what I asked for. And I had to put him on my list this time around.
I am going to, and I know there's no risk of you taking the knot from me. Mine are both going to be golf related. So I got to bring up this first one.
Definitely not going to take it for you. Yeah,
which is Lydia Ko from the LPGA. So let me share my screen here. We'll retweet all these for the podcast listeners who want to be like, I can't see it. We will retweet things for you to go find. So this is, she's in the water now, which I didn't know before we keep rolling this. I did not know that this was legal. I didn't know you could get in the water. You could get into like the out of bounds area to play a ball. So completely legal. Also, good thing this is Singapore and not like Florida. No crocodiles in there. And let's just gutsy to begin with, and we'll just let it roll here. So she's shooting, standing in the water, and she gets it smack dab in the middle of the fairway, and ended up saving par on this hole.
I mean, this has got to be the only way she could have done this, right? How else was she gonna? Maybe lefty. That would have been the only other thing I could think of. You hit it lefty, but insane.
Yeah, I know that result right there is not what would have happened had that been me. Well, one, I'm lefty, so I could have just stayed on the grass anyways. But I'll say even though I wouldn't have had to have gotten in the water, the ball would have wound up in the water somehow anyways. So
hit it. You would have swung over it and then hit it backwards.
yeah. Ah! Hey, fail plus smile equals win. So I always have a fun time
You're
when I'm
having
golfing.
fun. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. The knots, Christian. Who's down for you?
Yeah, geez. I mean, this is I could always have a number of this, but I was gonna go with a couple others, but then this came out today about Calvin Ridley. Um, yeah, gambling on his own team, which is like the worst part about this is almost the part that he gambled on the Falcons rather than just like gambled as a professional athlete in the sport. Now I know he's come out on Twitter and said like, he doesn't have a gambling problem. He only bet 1,500. But like, dude, it's the principle of the thing. You're in the league. You can't, the rules. You can't do that. And the only reason they caught him was, I think it was Genius. I think that's a program that caught him in Florida.
Yeah,
dude,
you have to
can't-
register. You're not just
Yeah.
like, some anonymous username. It's you.
The best
People,
part is-
you know who you are to bet and to get winnings. The
Not-
IRS will know who you are.
Not only did he do this, he put parlays on one of the worst teams in football. So I was like, it's
Yeah,
a double
you need
whammy.
help. It's a cry for help.
And also, it's like threefold because then the third part of it is like there's rumor from him coming to New England and he can play. I mean, he's a good player, and now he's going to be out of the league for at least a while.
year.
So,
A
yeah, at least a
whole
year. At least.
Year at least. Yeah, absolutely crazy. I mean, if there's any other players who are out there who like figure like, yo, man, the league's never gonna find that I like play
Right.
fantasy, daily fantasy, or they're never gonna find that I, bet like a grand or
DraftKings.
here on DraftKings. This comes out today, and you're like, uh-oh, delete. This is what I've said. This is one of those things that the NFL actually like really took a hard look into. It would be like tip of the iceberg type of stuff with how hard they've gone to be like embedded with these gambling apps and the casinos and everything, when you also want to try and ensure that like the game is on the level. Like you're just dangling the carrot. Before it's like you have to go to a sports book, you gotta know a bookie, you have to go physically somewhere. Now it's just right in the palm of your hand. That carrot is just right there for everybody.
It's also legal. It's also
to
being
grab.
legalized all over the country, which
And-
is kind of like another thing. But again, as an athlete, you can't do it. So, and like this is a big problem. This is a big problem in sports. Like if they have a bunch of guys like that, I mean, it's just not a good situation. It's like Tim Donaghy or one of the Pete
Exactly.
Rose. It's like, oh, you cannot do that. It's a big.
No, you can't. You can't. And
no.
I will say, credit to the NFL and for having a system in place to catch it. Do I think that Calvin Ridley's the only one? Probably not. For whatever reason, he's now the one who gets. He's the sacrificial lamb, and everybody else is on notice. So we'll see how this plays out. Obviously, this is also in the wake of all the allegations in the Brian Flores whole situation about being paid to lose games, and
Right.
none of that stuff is a good look whatsoever. And yeah, unfortunately, Calvin Ridley, like you said, talented player, guy can really play. Not going to be playing next year again. Right? He voluntarily sat out last year. I think that was like a mental health thing. Which, some people said, like, yeah, if you had to play for the Atlanta Falcons, like, you probably would want to sit out too. What I do feel like rubs me the wrong way about this, though, is that he bet on his own team to win, and rightfully he's suspended for a year. Yet, if you're a domestic abuser, 4 games.
Yeah, there's something backwards about it. That's for sure.
It just, in the NFL, I think it's just going to be one of those things they'll never get it right. And so, like, the penalty for this should be, yes, integrity of the game. This is integrity of the game. Not like whether or not there was 0.01 PSI different in a football.
Right.
This is legitimately integrity of the game. The NFL should also treat the conduct of its players and owners and employees as, the same.
It's
Like
the same.
that.
I mean, Dan Snyder is still the owner of the Washington. What is it again? I don't even remember. Not the football team anymore. What the hell is it? Commanders? Is that it?
Yes, it's the Commanders.
I don't even know what. I'm just.
I
so
wanted to
used
see what else you were gonna come up with.
I'm just so used to the football team now, so I just call him a football team. But he's still the owner there.
The
You know,
commies.
you go all the way back to Ray Rice with all this stuff and Adrian Peterson, things like that. Yeah, 4 games, 2 games, 3 games, whatever it is, and then this situation. I mean, it's a little bit backwards. I don't quite understand it, but it should be at least on the similar playing field. I feel like, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to categorize it because the NFL knows.
Categorize it.
Categorize it.
Categorize it. Gato gato. Yeah. So, Calvin Ridley, not good. We're gonna have to keep up with that and any of the developments from that. Some other like small things that I just thought were good knots. If nobody spotted it, was Glenn Big Baby Davis. What was for a very brief period of time courtside at the Celtics game yesterday before he was told, "Hey man, those my seats."
This is such a big baby thing to have happen.
And he's just like, "Oh, these your seats?
Oh,
my bad." And like gets up and like walks away. They like perfect timing, right? The camera's like they just cut to him to show him sitting there.
And he was wearing respect the logo shirt too, just like clowning on Kyrie.
Yeah.
It's just it's
these your seats? Oh, my bad. And gets up and has to like go back. You know, the camera's cut. You know, how far were we gonna see him walking all the way back?
Yeah, he's gone.
He's I gotta leave. Man, I was actually just stunned to see him because we had to look this up. I was like, isn't he like in legal trouble? Like what is going on? And for those that forgot, back in October, Big Baby, along with 18 other former NBA players, was among those indicted by a federal grand jury in New York on charges of conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud and wire fraud for allegedly defrauding the NBA's health and welfare benefit plan. He is alleged to have filed fraudulent insurance claims for reimbursement. He also has fraudulent tickets to the game. That is why he was asked to leave. Like, maybe that's why he was trying to just scam seats. He could only afford nosebleeds because he's got to pay his attorneys on retainer right now, to fight federal prosecution. I just thought that was hysterical. Of course that happened to Big Baby.
Did I cut out?
Maybe
it was my end. I don't know.
Maybe radio silence, never good. Again, that game yesterday had lots of knots. Kyrie was another one. If you want,
I wanted to put him on the list, but like I just feel like he's always on the list.
He's always on the
even when he's not on the list, he's on the list.
A perpetual nodder.
He just always has something to say. He just cannot help himself, and it's just like between the sage, the stomping on the logo. Now he's talking about how like, did you hear the comment about Tatum and Brown and all the young guys? Like he has great relationship with all those guys, and they were young pups and I feel like he's just like. He just always has something to say.
Always. This time, when asked about being booed in Boston for the rest of his career, he says, "It's like the scorned girlfriend wants an explanation on why I left, but still hoping for a text back." I honestly, though, I can't decide whether he takes up more mental real estate than he should in our brains, or if we have to start looking at the other way around, that like
100%,
we take up just as much real estate in his brain too.
Oh yeah, no, he hates it. Oh, he can't stand it. I mean, you see him at the foul line there. It was when Tatum was quieting the crowd because they were saying Kyrie sucks, and he's just kind of like having himself a little bit of a chuckle and a little bit. You can just tell he's like so bothered. He's so bothered by the fans here.
It's like he doesn't understand the consequences of his actions. Insert that for anything Kyrie's done the last 4 years.
Telling season ticket holders, we don't have to rehash all this, but it's just like, he's just always he's always making some comment. I don't know.
So those are kind of the ancillary knots. My big knot. So once again to the world of golf. So we had the good with Lydia Ko. This is the opposite. Mr. Rick Garboski. What happens when you run out of golf balls during a pro tournament?
I saw this. Yeah.
One PGA Tour Champions player found out. I need to play this clip because it's just great. Talk about the complete opposite. The guy has a great attitude about it, but it's just
Good and the bad of golf all in 1 week.
exactly. That's what I said. I couldn't. I had to just go with both of these because it was too good not to.
I took my hat off. I was shaking my hand.
You
The
were
cow
ready to be
play.
done.
Right. Which then I can't get to play today, which would have been terrible. The fourth hole here at Newport Beach, good par 3 over the water. It was our 13th hole. I hit my tee shot and it spun down into the lake.
Sounds
and
like
then
me.
I went to the drop area and hit my third shot, and that also hit on the green and spun down into the lake.
Sounds
Then
like
come
me.
to find out, he'd run out of the golf balls that he was playing, that particular brand and model. So asked me what he could do and if he could substitute a different ball, which I told him he could, but it was going to be a 2-stroke penalty because then he would have been in breach of the 1-ball rule.
Because I gave a bunch, and then I gave it a ball at the turn, and so I didn't even realize I'm playing the whole back 9 with just 2 golf balls. And I play a left dash Titleist, which is a little bit of a unique.
And then he goes into like the what his he starts going into the uniqueness.
Yeah,
of
no, we
his
don't care about
balls.
that. We just care about how he ran out.
I just pictured his guy. He's there. It's like his first champions like round. It's just happy to be there. Hey, you get a ball. You want a ball? Hey, kid, come here. Hey, you want a ball? Here you go. And then like he goes up the tee like, "God, I think I don't have any more balls left.
I didn't
Picture
know that
like
could
I
be a
mean.
thing.
I mean, if this was me or you, now we'd have to go fishing around the woods, with the 9-iron.
yeah.
Just whack, give me the P wedge. Just gonna go whacking through the bush here, see if I can find a ball to play with. With the pros, like the 1-ball rule, nice rule. You got it. It's the Lance Armstrong rule. You have to, keep the same type of ball. You can't just be like, hey, Tiger, can I borrow your balls to play this round? No, you have to keep the exact same type of ball. So he had to send somebody back to the locker room to go get his balls out of a locker, and he could continue playing. But a 2-stroke penalty was assessed for delaying
You
the
gotta
game.
stop saying balls.
Why? It's just a word.
Yeah, but it's just the way you're saying it.
It's just the way you think I'm saying it, Christian.
No, I think I'm pretty much on key with this. But
Anyways, this is like, again, like, somebody, this had to have happened before, right? And maybe we'll do the digging, internet, do the digging for us throughout the week. Where did this happen before where, the lords of golf had to sit down and say, oh, what do we do in this situation, right? How many strokes? How many stroke penalties for only playing with one ball, more than one ball?
it had to have happened like way back, and then they came up with the rule because of that.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know when the hell it would happen.
I'm wondering, has it happened in modern history before? Like this? I don't know. It makes sense as a
all
rule.
that comes up is
I think.
Oh wait, Eddie Pepperell in 2019 did it.
That's far.
Far more recent than I
recent
thought it was
there.
going to be.
Did it where? At Pinecrest in Richmond, Rhode Island, or like in an actual PGA?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to do more research, but it's not good for right now.
No, that's what I want. I mean, I guess I don't know if it makes sense. Like why you would have to play the entire round with the same exact type of ball when I don't have to play with the same type of ball that like the guy next to me is playing with. Why me? Why do I have to keep? I don't know.
You got to choose your balls before you play.
Choose your balls wisely. Yes,
You have to
you're
enter your
locked in.
balls.
Make
in
make
the
a
tournament.
ball commitment is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Commit to your
Exactly.
balls. Gotcha.
Yes.
Gotcha. Somebody who has not committed to anything, that is Aaron Rodgers. And a lot of talk around the combine this week. Obviously, you've got a big meeting of the minds. You've got coaches. You've got owners. Lots of people who are in the know. And The NFL on ESPN shared this piece. Dan Graziano said that wherever you went in Indy this week, people seemed pretty sure that Rodgers was going to stay in Green Bay for at least one more year. Again, he will, in all likelihood, be the highest paid player ever in NFL history if that happens. But Graziano did follow up his own piece by saying, and I vainly hope that someone will pay attention to the fact that the next sentence I wrote said, but that was all external speculation, and anyone who tells you they know what Rodgers is going to do is lying. So, again, we don't know. And then lots of rumors flying today and yesterday about deals already in place with, I believe, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, and Denver as places that he could go. The Broncos have, which again, it's like, what are the tampering rules? Like, there's a report that the Broncos are willing to go, like, to meet every single contractual demand of Rodgers. Are you allowed to say that about a guy that is under contract right now with the Packers? I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess.
I mean, the tampering period starts pretty soon, though. I think it's in like a week. I think.
True.
Maybe
I don't
somewhere
know.
on there. Yeah, I mean, this stuff
But
always
that's
happens.
tampering with free agents, not tampering with
this-
guys.
Are we surprised at this though? Guys,
No,
tamper
I'm not.
like mid-season at this point.
Oh
It's
no,
just
no,
like-
no. I'm not at all. It's just again comically.
I think this is another one like baseball that Mr. Panchakarma should be shelved until further notice. I think. Yeah, that's my vote only because like this guy is he's another one that just wants to be heard.
You're saying you want me to put Aaron Rodgers back in a locker with Rick Garboski's balls?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And Major League Baseball's the CBA talks.
So we've the 360 ball locker now contains Major League
Panchakarma?
Baseball, Panchakarma, and
Major League Baseball
Major
and-
League Baseball,
and some golf balls.
some golf balls, some sort of very specific titleists. Anyways, do you want to talk? I can't tell whether this is recent or not. Do you want to talk Bruins first before we wrap up with a
That is recent, good sir. Yeah.
the more serious story?
Yeah, why not? Let's just do a quick minute. I mean, it's not, we could go, there's 82 games in the season. We can't just go over every single one. But we spoke, I want to say it was last week, maybe, or the week before, that they had a tough road trip coming up out west. Not that anybody's watched it because it was all at 10:30. But
Past your bedtime?
yeah, 6 game. No, I watched, but I'm just saying, like, the average, I think some people around these parts would rather watch baseball and fall asleep on their couch at 9 p.m. So
9 a.m.
9 a.m. and maybe that too.
That's
but,
nap time at a lot of the nursing homes. Yeah, so
Yes.
probably.
But they were going out west for 6 games. I mean, it's a tough trip. Played some good teams out there. And they got 10 out of 12 points, and they're kind of just rolling at this point. I mean, the goaltending has been good, minus this last game against Columbus. They play tonight again, so watch out for that one. This could be a little trap coming back from the West Coast. But 10 out of 12 points is pretty good. They could have probably gotten at least 11 out of 12. They gave up a goal against Anaheim with like 40 seconds left or something like that, and lost 2 points there. But 10 out of 12 is really damn good for this team, and that's kind of they're in range now to kind of overtake Toronto. Ultimately, the bad news is it's not going to really matter that much. They're going to have to face Tampa, Florida, or I believe Carolina, and those 3 teams are the 3 best in the conference. So it's not going to really matter all that much. I still want them to do something at the deadline coming up here. But for a West Coast swing like that, really good. And now you got to keep it kind of on level. And hopefully, I mean, if you sneak up there and take over Toronto, it's not going to make a huge difference. But you obviously still want to win games here. So
Yep.
A pretty good trip overall. Just coming out of that, it's a tough trip. You go out there, 6 games in a row. That's a rough string of games, and they have a lot more coming up.
it's one of those interesting things where it's like you want them to keep winning, obviously. But the more they win, the more difficult they'll make their playoff path. Whereas, like, if you're the second wild card team, instead of playing through the Atlantic Division, you probably play through the Metropolitan, and now you're dealing with Pittsburgh and the Rangers in Carolina. Way different than having to play, the Florida teams. So that'll be the interesting thing, and I'm sure a lot of that, that'll probably inform a bit of their trade deadline, philosophy. If like, hey, these are the types of teams we're going to have to be playing through, and that's why people favored the divisional setup, was because you create these for the teams that are at the top. You create these rivalries every single year. If you're a Bruins fan, you're going to have to go through Toronto and Tampa. And Tampa obviously has been harder to get through. Toronto, we have some great memories of playing Toronto. Not so for Toronto fans, but that creates the rivalries. And so you start having to build yourself to go through your division. Now you're in this kind of weird spot where, do you load up to stop Tampa or Florida, or do you look more towards how are we going to match up with the Rangers or the Hurricanes? It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I'd say they're safe, because barring epic total collapse
and a great run from Detroit, there's no way Detroit is catching them. I can't imagine. So
yeah, or not even Detroit. I mean, Columbus has overtaken Detroit.
True. Yeah.
Columbus has got 59 points. I mean, it's 13 points with 26 games to go. Like, obviously mathematically possible, but just when you look at the teams, I don't know.
They'd have to go on a run. I mean, that's for sure.
That would be some 2011 Red Sox level of down the stretch. So we'll keep our eyes on them. Last news story. And like we usually lead off with the big thing, and then we get down into the minutia. Kind of did things in reverse. Had a little bit more fun. This is something that I guess has happened back in February, but the real reporting on it in the news didn't break on it until yesterday. But WNBA star Brittany Griner is evidently being detained, held, imprisoned, undetermined degree of just being trapped.
Definitely detained. I mean, that's the latest I heard. But
in Russia.
Yeah.
Now, the reason she was over there is it's the WNBA offseason. As a lot of those players do, will go and play for an international team. And so she plays for a Russian team. She was going through airport customs, and a drug sniffing dog signaled her bag. An agent checked out her bag, and she had like a vape pen and some cannabis oil, which we look at and say, like, so what? No big deal. Well, when you're in Russia, it's a big deal there. That is a narcotic substance, that they call it. And so she's been detained and is being held. And now, I've seen reports, they spoke with her high school coach in Texas, and they're asking about the thing everybody's worried about is just that she becomes a political pawn to use now. Because obviously the United States is going to want to get her safely returned. If convicted of the whatever crime they end up actually charging her with.
10 years, I think.
10 years for having a vape pen, basically. Crazy. You can look at it and say, that it's crazy, like that's the rules over there, and blah blah blah. At the end of the day, you gotta know where you are. Like, I feel like that's an unfortunate thing. Nobody's gonna want to say anything bad about Brittany Griner right now, but like if you, especially if like you're playing there, you should have a sense of like where you are, and especially the escalating over there. It's not just like new. I mean, it's been months of kind of tensions building and things happening, and I don't know. it's really unfortunate. I hope they can get her back soon because this is one of those things that's just used for political leverage.
Yeah.
Scary. Really scary. Obviously, everything that's happening over there is scary, but like we said last week and the week before, unfortunately, things that happen on a global scale, sports is going to get dragged into it in one way or another, and this is obviously a very direct dragging in.
Yeah. Prominent connection just between, I mean, you have a high-level athlete. Obviously, we know who Brittany Griner is in terms of WNBA status. I would just say, like you kind of mentioned, just err on the side of caution with those things. Now, maybe she's just like, you sometimes like don't even think about it.
There's a
You know,
mistake,
you have your
honest
cannabis
mistake.
oil in your bag because whatever reason, anxiety, whatever she uses that for. Over here, probably not a huge deal, right? Everybody's looking at that like, well, nobody really cares, right? But you know, different places, whether it be Russia or anywhere else. Now we obviously know the situation over there. Yeah, now it becomes unfortunate because who knows what the hell is going to happen in terms of political and everything. The whole scope changes when you have someone like that over there being detained like that. So obviously a tough situation for her wife too, and yeah, just not a great situation overall.
Oh, and that's another thing that's scary is, you know, Russia has very strict like LGBTQ like rules. Like if any of that will play into how they treat her, like it's a really scary situation. You know, I don't think anybody needs Andrew Pizzelli and Christian Lauber to tell them if you're in Russia, the United States has said get out.
Yeah.
So maybe I mean she was, I don't know how soon before the WNBA season was going to start off again. So how close she was to, you know, leaving that league anyways, and coming back. But hey, so that's just another thing to keep our eye on, and hopefully we can bring you good news about that. Just want to peruse the Twitter sphere, see if we have any breaking news. It always seems like we log off and then something happens. Matt Judon does not agree with the Calvin Ridley suspension. He says that this is trash. Free Calvin. I mean, yeah. If you want to disagree with anything with it, you can say how, like what we've said. You know, Calvin Ridley could have gone and, I don't know if he's married or has a girlfriend, whatever. He could have gone and beaten up a significant other in an elevator and only been suspended 4 games. But he placed bets on his own team to win and gone for a year. That's
overall,
just
I don't.
the
Again, like
NFL.
I don't think this situation. If he just spent $1,500 and played some parlays on his team, it's not like that situation alone is like a massive deal, right? It's the precedent that comes with it. So I just like you
They're
don't want to
making an
set a,
example.
yeah, you don't want to set a precedent that like, okay, well, you only did $1,500 as opposed to like, you know, $1 million. So you only get one game, and that $1 million guy that bet on other teams gets, you know, half a season to a season. It just can't work that way. I don't know. Like, I think some will argue there's a gray area because of the legalized betting in some states, which, you know, I have no problem with that. But then it gets a little dicey when players get involved with that.
Yeah. It does not seem like we have nothing else of note other than the fact that evidently Patrice Bergeron and Brad Marchand are turning the Kings power play into Krusty the Clown show, according to Joe Haggerty. So that is whatever.
It's not
that
exactly
means.
breaking, but you know.
Yeah, tell us something we don't already know. That those two guys are good at hockey.
Yeah.
So, anywho, perusing the mailbag, nothing in the Gmail. So, if you are one of our podcast listeners, we know we have them out there. Thank you for finding us on Sounder FM or wherever you get your podcast from. You can always email us and reach us here at the 360 Sports Show by emailing the 360sportshow@gmail.com, and we can get your questions, comments, and concerns that way. And And hopefully someday you can check us out on the live stream and interact here with the
Go
Twitch
follow the
streamers.
TikTok.
Yes, the 360 Sports Show TikTok dancing coming soon. Me and Christian will have
I'm about
to
to get
as
on
the
there and start
weather
doing some
as the
dancing.
weather warms. Maybe we will get outside. Maybe that's what we know. That is something we have not done, Christian. We have not done a show on location. Right? We've gone to locations, reported back from locations.
What
We've yet to do a
location are you
live
talking
show on
about?
location somewhere.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know where we'd go, but
Talking about taking a drive down the road. I'll just stay here. I don't know.
live from Narragansett Town Beach. How about live from Madison Square Garden?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay,
Maybe in a few years.
a few years, if we're still here.
Yeah, we're still here.
Anywho, that is gonna do it for this edition of the show. I am Andrew Pizzelli. He is Christian Lauber.